What's going on, everybody? Josh Engleman for Awesemo.com, and I am back with my NBA DFS contenders on FanDuel for Thursday, January 20th. Now be sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you know when everything goes live. Follow me on Twitter, @Josh Engleman. Let me know in the comments who your favorite plays are for today's slate, and then peep the banner right over here. Nice. Actually pointed in the right direction for the first time in a while. Awesemo.com/prizepicks-promo. You can get one free month of Awesemo Plus Platinum, along with a little bit of a deposit bonus. You could use our free Prize Picks player prop tool on the website to help you out. Just go to that link, awesemo.com/prizepicks-promo. Now we're rounding out the bottom of my top 10 with Karis LeVert, Chris Duarte, Malcolm Brogdon, if he plays, Josh Hart, and Chris Paul on the outside looking in. Who will be my favorites? My top 5 plays for today? It is time to find out. First up at number 5, we've got Jonas Valanciunas. He is center eligible, 7,300, projected for 39. The goal is 46, and he's in the optimal lineup 36% of the time. I don't think there's much to really say here. Now, it's not the best matchup in the world for New Orleans. They do lose 3.6 possessions below their normal average from a pace perspective. That's what happens when you take on. That's what happens when you. What am I talking about? That's what happens when you take on the Knicks. It's still Joe Val. 32 minutes, 1.25 fantasy points per minute. He's projected for 17.5 points and 13.5 rebounds. Can't really complain there. 2 assists, a stock-ish. Center's kind of tricky today because it's looking like we're going to have pretty clear value options in JaVale McGee and Goga Bitadze, potentially. Joe Val, on the other hand, gives you a very different lineup construction. You're paying up more at center and redistributing everything else, looking for value in other spots. I like the ceiling that Joe Val brings here. The idea of him going for 46 to hit his goal doesn't seem crazy to me. And he does that basically like 1 in 5 to 1 in 4, somewhere in the neighborhood, 1 in 4.5, basically, percent of the time. Like that's a great spot for Joe Val. The ceiling is real. We do have 2 value options, but I'm happy to pay up for Joe Val. At number 4, we have Mikal Bridges. He is small forward, power forward eligible, 4,700, projected for 25.5. The goal is 35, but he's in the optimal lineup 39% of the time. There's not an overwhelming amount of value at the non-center positions, and Bridges is just going to play a ton. I got him in for 34 minutes. It's not crazy that he would play more. He's a 3/4 of a fantasy point per minute guy. It's pretty standard, 12.5 points, almost 5 boards, 2 assists, 2 stocks. This is also just the same way for Joe Val, for Bridges. Pace down spot big time against Dallas. He's going to lose 2.8 possessions below their average. I mean, that's going to cost Bridges basically like a full fantasy point. Even still, there aren't just an overwhelming amount of places to find value. Getting a guy that has small forward and power forward eligibility and this amount of minutes on a 3-game slate, that's what we're looking for. At number 3, we're paying up for Steph Curry, which is something that I don't normally say, particularly on FanDuel where he doesn't get the 3-point bonus, but 10,300, projected for 45. The goal's 58.5. He's in the optimal lineup 40% of the time. This is just a raw point ceiling on a 3-gamer. 34 minutes. He's a 1.3 fantasy point per minute guy. 26 points, 6 boards, 6 assists, a steal and a half. Again, pace down spot against Indiana, but this is an Indiana Pacers team that's going to be likely without Domantas Sabonis. They're already without Miles Turner. Clearly no TJ Warren, no TJ McConnell. It's not the same sort of matchup here against the Pacers, and they're not even all that good to begin with. So on a 3-game slate with this sort of ceiling that you can get out of Curry, even just his median, getting to 45 fantasy points, that's very valuable on a day like today. Now we take a gigantic leap up in tier. 56% odds of being in the optimal, 16% higher than Steph Curry. That's number 2, Julius Randle. Power forward center eligible, 8,700, projected for 41. The goal is 52. And as I mentioned, optimal lineup 56% of the time. You know what you're getting out of Julius Randle at this point. 36 minutes, 1.15 fantasy points per minute, a double-double, 20 points, 10.5 boards, 6 assists, and a stock. Basically pace neutral for the Knicks. They're so slow that it doesn't really make much of a difference who they face. Pelicans are middle of the pack, so they're a little bit slower in the middle of the pack, but the pace isn't really going to matter for the Knicks. Everybody plays faster than New York. Julius Randle having the center eligibility helps. You're probably not going to play him all that frequently in the center spot, given the other guys that are available. But today, at 8,700 on a 3-gamer, the floor of Julius Randle is way too high to ignore. Now, before we get to that number one contender, one last reminder to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you know when everything goes live. Follow me on Twitter at Josh Engleman. Let me know in the comments who your favorite plays are. And then don't forget, awesemo.com/prizepicks-promo. Hook yourself up with a deal. The number one contender for today is my preferred pay-up option. That would be Luka Doncic. If you thought Steph was high, Luka's a little bit higher. Point guard, shooting guard eligible, 10,900, projected for 52. The goal is 61, and he is also in the optimal lineup 56% of the time. We don't know if Kristaps Porzingis is playing or not in this one. You feel better about Luka's ceiling if he doesn't. It doesn't really change anything. I have him in for right now. 1.45 fantasy points per minute, 36 minutes, 36% usage, 27 points, 9.5 rebounds, and 9 assists. I mean, we are basically projecting Luka Doncic for a triple-double, or at least knocking on the door of it. It's pace neutral against Phoenix. Clearly not a fun matchup, but it's different when it's Ayton at center in comparison to JaVale or Bismack Biyombo, or maybe they dust off Jalen Smith. Doubt it, but who knows? Ultimately, you need the raw points, and you're probably going to need 2 of the 3 of Steph, Randall, and Luka. That's why those center value plays will come in handy for you. It's also why going to someone like Joval really changes your lineup construction. But when push comes to shove, the idea of getting 50% of the time getting Luka Doncic to score 50 fantasy points on a 3-game slate, it's going to be hard to avoid him. You're going to need an actual bust, because anything north of 50, and he's probably a necessity. Luka Doncic is your number one contender. Alrighty, folks, that will do it. Those are my NBA DFS contenders on FanDuel for Thursday, January 20th. Now, there's a DraftKings and Yahoo version of this video around here somewhere, so check it out. Good luck tonight, everybody. Win that money. Back again tomorrow morning for another edition of the Contenders.